Hello folks, and welcome to this, the March 20th, 2016 edition of Decision 2016 Digest, the channel where we give you the top election headlines and policy headlines in 15 minutes or less. I'm your host, Scott Jones. I know I'm a little bit overdue with this update. There's been a lot happening on the campaign trail, a lot of changes, and I wanted some of the primaries to get out of the way, so let's get right to it. And then there were three in the GOP. I jokingly call them the three amigos, but nobody's laughing, folks. The race for the GOP presidential nomination has become increasingly heated both between the candidates and within factions inside the Republican Party. Failing to win his home state, Florida Senator Marco Rubio had a stunning loss to GOP frontrunner Donald Trump in the Florida primary. Senator Rubio suspended his campaign, leaving Donald Trump, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, and Ohio Governor John Kasich as the last three standing. John Kasich did win his home state of Ohio last Tuesday. Winning the GOP on the way to the convention this summer requires a candidate to secure 1,237 delegates during these primary contests. With 30 states primaries in the bank, the current delegate count is Trump 678, Cruz 423, and Kasich 143. Based on the remaining states that have yet to vote and award their delegates, Trump and Cruz are the only two with any chance to secure the required 1,237 delegates, with Trump the only one of the two who could realistically achieve that number before the convention. Kasich is mathematically eliminated from getting to 1,237 delegates, with the other two calling him a spoiler in the race. Why is he staying in? The only thing I can come up with is he hopes in a contested convention he could somehow get the votes if one of the other two drop out, but I wouldn't count on Trump dropping out under any scenario. Utah and Arizona vote this Tuesday and are winner-take-all delegate states. In other words, if you win, you get all of them, not apportioned versions of the delegates. Pundits seem to give the edge to Cruz in Utah, and my gut favors Trump in Arizona. If Trump were to somehow pull off a win in both states, I think he would be a lock for the nomination at that point. It's definitely going to get interesting, sports fans. The media is all a Twitter about the prospect of a so-called contested or brokered convention. So what happens if no candidate gets the 1,237 delegates needed before this summer's GOP convention? That would be called a contested convention. There are rules for multiple rounds of delegate voting until one candidate gets the required 1,237 needed. The last time this happened was in 1976 between Ronald Reagan and then sitting President Gerald Ford, with Reagan finally conceding to give way to Gerald Ford winning the nomination. In general, this is an orderly but hard-fought administrative process. Yes, passions run high, and the stakes are even higher. But would there be riots, as Donald Trump has speculated? Highly doubtful. But with Trump's unconventional run for the nomination and his highly charged rhetoric, it's been a polarizing election and has polarized many, both inside and outside of the GOP. There are two very different ways to see the Trump candidacy. One, he is a strong leader, saying what others have been thinking for years now, not afraid to take on the establishment, and, as he says, wanting to make America great again. This has scared the crap out of the Washington establishment, which I, like many, are tired of not serving we the people. The other way to see Donald Trump is a threat to the status quo, rude and crude, a potential lightweight on the affairs of state, too polarizing, and unqualified to be President of the United States. This has pitted Washington lobbyists, sitting politicians, including those in the GOP leadership, against Trump, not to mention Democrats. Despite this intense opposition, he continues to win primary elections, some by large margins, and one thing is clear: no matter what you think of Trump, America is pissed off. We're pissed off at Washington, the state of the economy, and our enemies. And the voters, they want change. Trump has tapped into that and is bringing new voters to the party. Is this the end of the world to those worried about Trump tearing up Washington's status quo and making it accountable again to we the people? Maybe. To those who are tired of the PC culture, Washington ignoring us, and our enemies crapping on us from around the world, not so much. It will stay interesting as all of this plays out, and we're going to keep you posted right here on Decision 2016 Digest. So, what about the Democrats? Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders dealt Hillary Clinton a pretty embarrassing blow by winning the state of Michigan in their recent primary. But as primaries moved to the southern states, Hillary began racking up substantial margins and delegates in those southern states. Despite this, Sanders continues raising large sums of money, continues to draw huge crowds, and says he plans to stay in the race. His supporters are clearly still feeling the burn. But with large wins in the South and looking good in upcoming states, Mrs. Clinton has all but locked up the Democratic nomination for herself. The only thing that could derail her for the presidency before the November 8th general election is the omnipresent FBI investigation still underway into her use of a private email server while Secretary of State and exposing national security secrets in the process. While she dismisses the investigation, it is serious, folks, and don't you kid yourself. It is ongoing. It has expanded, looking into her conduct as Secretary of State as it relates to her family's Clinton Foundation and the money they collected from foreign countries while she was at Secretary of State. There are many reports that there is sufficient evidence for her to be indicted, but we won't know until the FBI makes its recommendation to Obama's Attorney General Loretta Lynch. If it were you or me, we would already be indicted and in jail, but this is politics, and the chances of her being indicted are 50-50. There's a lot of politics in it, which is a shame, and kind of what the people who support Donald Trump are tired of. One set of rules for you and me and another set for the political class in Washington. But there's a real risk to her, and I doubt if the FBI finds wrongdoing that she could credibly stay in the race for her nomination as president for the Democrats. This would leave the DNC left to pick a Joe Biden or somebody to take her place. It's a mess, but you know what? She created it. That's the update here on March 20th, 2016. If you like what we're doing here on the channel, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It lets me know you appreciate what we're doing here and the information we're trying to bring you to make good decisions in this election. As a hookup for my viewers, if you like listening to books instead of reading them, I put a special link in the description below where you can get your first month free and first booklet download free from audible.com. It's free for the first month, just for trying it, no further obligations, just for my viewers. That's it for now, folks. Thanks for watching. It's definitely going to remain interesting, but there's a lot at stake. National security, the state of our economy, and the future of the Supreme Court. Please stay informed, get involved, and we'll talk to you next time right here on Decision 2016 Digest.